Hi there, week 4 of close reading, and we are looking at tone, the way something is said. And you're looking, in these questions, you're looking for examples of the words that the writer uses which would indicate tone, because obviously it's writing and it's not spoken language, much easier to identify when it's spoken. So you're looking closely at the words the writer uses to indicate the way it's said. So let's look at an example of the sentence, close the door quietly. So if I said, close the door quietly, if it was written, close the door quietly, full stop at the end, there's no given tone there, is there? It's just a quiet, neutral tone. If I said, please could you close the door quietly, then the please would indicate that I was being polite there, and when it was written down, the please would indicate that as well. So you would have a polite tone. Please, if it's not too much trouble, could you close the door quietly, is a slightly more kind of begging, imploring, desperate, maybe even, depends on the context. Or I could take that sentence and I could say, there's nothing I like better than being woken up in the middle of the night by the delightful sound of a banging door. Please feel free to continue to do so as loudly as you like. My tone there is sarcastic, and we would recognise that by the idea of there is nothing I like better, which is obviously silly and not true, so it's exaggerated, and so that's the tone of that. Close the door quietly. The quietly would be written in capital letters, and that would tell us the tone. So we know that it's angry, demanding, and the word quietly in inverted commas, in capital letters with an exclamation mark afterwards, would help us to know that. Okay, what about this one? Hi guys, do you reckon you could close the door quietly, please? Cheers. So that's a sort of casual, informal, friendly. And the words hi guys at the beginning would tell us that. Cheers at the end. Trying to be friendly, warm, chummy, that kind of idea. What about, terribly sorry to be a pest. Would it be possible to close the door quietly? Sorry, I'm a light sleeper. Hope this is okay with everybody. Well, that's slightly more apologetic, isn't it? Slightly more almost creepy, actually. But apologetic is what we're looking for there. What about, I have a young child whose bedroom is next to the front door. His sleep is being seriously disrupted. Please, 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 could you take a little more care when closing the door at night? Well, there's an anger there. There's an imploring, beseeching tone. You get the idea. Tone is the way it's said, and it's the words. So seriously disrupted would tell us that. Please, 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 the repetition would tell us that there. So you're looking, with tone, you're looking at a word to describe the tone, and you're looking at words in the sentence that indicate this. In your notes for this week, you have a list of words: ironic, sarcastic, emotive, colloquial, persuasive, sardonic, humorous, flippant, effusive, satirical, tongue-in-cheek. The list is endless, scathing, withering, educational, and so it goes on, enthusiastic, etc. Colloquial is a good one. I think I've said that one, haven't I? Okay, so that is tone. Should be quite straightforward. So assignment 1, you are looking at the article printed in the Daily Mail and the article printed in the Guardian, and you're reading through it and getting an idea of the tone, giving me some examples for tone. The rest of this week's lesson is on sentence structure, which is a huge thing in close reading. You have got to know at Higher English how a sentence is put together. You've absolutely got to. And the areas that you need to know about are the different types of sentences we have. We have commands, we have statements, we have questions, we have rhetorical questions, we have exclamations. When do we use them? Why do we use them? And how do we know that's what they are? It's all in the notes. You must know this. You must learn this. If you don't know this, you must learn this. The way a sentence is structured is the way the words are put together. And a writer thinks about this very carefully because it affects the meaning. If I said to you, the boy was laughing and he fell off his bike, or the boy was laughing when he fell off his bike. If I decided to put laughing at the beginning of the sentence, so I said, laughing, the boy fell off his bike, then the emphasis is now on laughing, okay, rather than the boy. That's the feature of the sentence, and a writer thinks about that very carefully. So look at that. Look at what's at the beginning of the sentence, the way it's structured. Here we have a whole list of punctuation. You have to learn this: inverted commas, colons, semicolons, single dashes, double dashes, brackets. You must learn when you use them, and here's the trick. You answer the question by saying that the writer uses a pair of dashes. You correctly identify that a writer uses a pair of dashes to separate off a piece of information in the sentence that's not vital. The sentence would make sense without it. However, by adding it, now this is where you get the marks, by adding it, what does he do? Well, what's the subject of the sentence? And how does it help the sentence? So you must come back to the subject. It is not enough to say that the writer uses a pair of dashes and they're used to separate off, because a primary 4 pupil can say that. That's not difficult. What is more demanding is saying how it adds to the subject, why the writer would choose to write this way. Now remember, it's this whole idea of tools. Punctuation is a big thing in a writer's toolkit, and he uses punctuation, she uses punctuation for effects. Your job is to identify what these effects are. Okay, so come back to the subject all the time in sentence structure. The other thing, we're going to come on and look at this in the next part of sentence structure, is that look at the verbs, look at the number of verbs that are used. Lots of verbs, lots of action, lots of motion, as if things are happening right now. So you're looking at that as well, but we'll come on to that. Okay, so the assignment 2, week 4, is what is it? It's to read the 3 extracts, 4, 5 and 6, identify the punctuation used and comment on the effect and purpose. And I want lots and lots of detail coming back to the subject. Okay,